Hello, I'm Donald Leggett, and welcome to the latest London South East CEO interview. I'm joined today by Larry Bottomley, and he is CEO at Beacon Energy, newly readmitted to AIM after the takeover of Rhine Petroleum in Germany. Larry will be explaining why the Ukraine war has changed the mood music for oil and gas in Germany, and why Beacon hope to self-fund their way to growth. Welcome, Larry. It's really great to be speaking to you today.
No, thank you, Donald. It's great to be here.
Yes. Now, I've not heard of you before, so it's quite exciting for us, to be honest.
Right.
Shall we start at the start, Larry? Talk us through the takeover of Rhine Petroleum. That must be fascinating in itself.
Okay. No, what we had was a cash shell with Beacon Energy. So this was an entity in which we were looking to reverse an asset or assets into it. For us, the goal is to create a self-funding business model, and the match that we had with Rhine Petroleum is that they have an excellent portfolio and a world-class operating team. So the combination of those two, with our ability as a board to secure businesses and to grow businesses, seemed to be an appropriate marriage. So I think in terms of Rhine Petroleum itself, the two elements it's got its portfolio. So it's got a series of German assets, and that's production, appraisal and exploration opportunities, and all of those assets sit onshore, principally within the Rhine Graben, hence the name of the company, Rhine Petroleum. So it has some production, albeit small. It has material development opportunities that sit within that portfolio, and that will be our focus over the next few years. And it's also got exploration opportunities, some of which, if they were to be successful, would be absolutely transformational to the company. So essentially what we're looking to do is we are now undertaking drilling, and we're drilling a development well on a field that is currently operated by Rhine Petroleum and is currently producing. So, and the aim with that development well is to increase production, increase the cash flow, and then to use that cash flow to reinvest back into the portfolio. So the additional developments and the discoveries that they've got within that portfolio. So in terms of that portfolio, we've got independently audited 2P reserves of 3.8 million barrels. And so that was a CPR that we put out in December before the RTO. We've got 2C contingent resources. So these are reserves that are discovered and essentially need approval to progress, and that's 22.9 million barrels. And the segment that we're looking to drill, so the thing that we're targeting with the upcoming well, that has an NPV of $55 million. So we've got this really attractive and exciting portfolio. We've got an in-country team, 11 full-time employees that sit within Germany that have been working in Germany for 10 years, and they will help us go through this drilling program. Okay. In terms of the RTO,
if I could just stop there, so we have a conversation.
Yes.
You're about to drill the first of 4 development wells at Erfelden, and those are over 2 years. So let's break down what you're actually drilling for at SCHB-2, and tell us what you hope to discover there. How exciting is that?
Great. No, absolutely. As I touched on earlier, the principal producing asset that Rhine Petroleum has is the Erfelden field. So, and this field, the Erfelden field, is in a series of segments. And this field has been developed over some considerable time. Historic production was operated by ExxonMobil, so they discovered the field back in the early 50s and worked through, and they were continuing production up until 1984. What Rhine Petroleum did is that they subsequently, when Exxon left the area with an oil price at $8 a barrel, when Exxon left the area, subsequently Rhine Petroleum picked it up, shot 3D seismic data, and that radically changed the description of the subsurface. And this is where we can now identify these individual segments that sit within the field. In 2015, Rhine Petroleum drilled one of these segments, and that segment has been in production since then through till now. There are 2 additional undeveloped segments in the field. The first of which we're targeting with the SCHB-2 well. It's the Schwarzbach well. And the segment that we're targeting, that's the thing that the CPR assigns 3.8 million barrels to, with a $55 million NPV. And that development is going to be a 3-well development. The first of those wells will spud, and we expect that to be on the 19th of this month. And then we'll essentially drill that well, and the intention is to bring that onto production and put it through the producing facility that's immediately adjacent to the well site.
So how long does it take to drill? What are the costs of the drill?
The well itself will take 25 days to drill. After that, we'll then spend in the region of 12 days to go through a cleanup. So that'll be to produce from the reservoirs that we're targeting, and then we'll be able to put it on production sometime later. So with a 19th of July spud, the 19th of June spud, we would expect production to be in late July, early August, if things go to plan. It's a drilling well, so things can go slower. Occasionally they can go quicker, but we're expecting the next couple of months to then be able to bring that onto production.
But you do very much sound, you're talking bring it onto production. You're that confident that this is going to hit oil? Well,
one of the important things with this part of the field is that these two segments, the segment that we're targeting has already been discovered. So in 1985, Exxon drilled a well into this segment and encountered oil in all of the reservoirs within the section. So, and we're twinning that well. So the well that we're drilling is immediately adjacent to the well. So we really don't expect to have any surprises during the course of that. So for us, it's then essentially drilling the well, logging the well, and then bringing it onto completion. So you know, the risk associated with this well genuinely are as low as they possibly get. So risk still exists. Surprises can happen, but you know, this is as lower risk as you're ever likely to get, because it's a development well.
Which is why you've chosen to go with this one as your first one.
Absolutely.
How much is the success of the rest of the field? You have lots of other assets. How much is that self-funding growth strategy? How much of it is predicated on the success of SCHB-2?
Well, the important thing with the Schwarzbach-2 well, what we have from the CPR is a range of potential production rates. And that range could be as low as 200 barrels a day and up to 1,500 barrels a day. For our modeling, we've taken a mean case there of 600 barrels a day. So at 600 barrels a day, that allows us to complete the development in a couple of years. So that generates sufficient cash for us to then be able to reinvest back into the field. Now, clearly, if it's lower than that, we can just go slower. And if it's higher than that, we can go a lot more quickly. So because we've got this range of potential outcomes, but it's the production rate outcome rather than the risk or the probability of encountering hydrocarbons. So it's that range that's the piece. But the really important thing is that this is a field that's wholly owned by us, 100%. And is operated by us. So we're in total control. We can control the pace at which that development goes. And of course, once that field is then fully developed, it then becomes the cash engine for the company. We can then use that cash to reinvest within the portfolio, within the discoveries within the portfolio, or reinvest it into other things, or return it back to the shareholders. Those will be decisions that we can take when we get ourselves into that position.
You say the Ukraine war has changed attitudes in Germany to E&P. Is Germany open to drilling for oil and gas again? Has the mood music changed?
It absolutely has, and Germany has always been open to E&P. It has a long history within E&P. Current production is in the region of 120,000 barrels a day from their onshore basins, which is, I would think, significantly in excess of that production within the UK. And I think one of the important things that the Germans have done is to realize that security of supply is incredibly important, and they have aggressively refocused their access to energy, specifically in LNG regasification, and so they are really now focusing on this as a core element. The only important thing to keep in mind is that E&P activity is very well organized and managed within Germany. It's done through the state mining authorities. You secure a license from them, you secure an operating license approval from them. It's systematic, it's regulated, it's predictable, and essentially it becomes a very safe working environment because it's so well managed and so well regulated. It's a slow process to get these approvals. We have all the approvals in place for the Erfelden development plan, but once you have those approvals in place, then you can undertake the work. So certainly the German concerns that they have on security supply, we see that has an increased focus for indigenous sources of energy. And as you said, the mood music has changed markedly within Germany.
Talking of which, it would be very useful for you to tell me who else is active in oil and gas in Germany right now, and where do you fit into that picture? Are you one of the smaller players? Are you one of the bigger players? Tell us all.
Okay, so in terms of the oil and gas sector within Germany, in the northern sector, it's principally gas and gas production, and in the southern area, in the Rhine Graben, it's oil, and in the Malas Basin, it's oil and gas. As I mentioned, 120,000 barrels of oil equivalent from those basins. In terms of Germany itself, it has ExxonMobil there as an operator, Wintershall Deo, Neptune, Vermilion. So there's a whole host of companies, and then there are smaller private companies, and then companies like Beacon Energy. I think one of the important things having that group of companies is that within that process, portfolio rationalization occurs. So there will be instances when these companies will take strategic decisions to look elsewhere or modify their portfolio. And indeed, our acquisition of Rhine Petroleum was a consequence of that. So we do see material opportunities from third-party portfolio. But having said that, we've also got an excellent portfolio of ourselves. So we've got production, we've got development. There are 2 discoveries with and a contingent resource of almost 23 million barrels that we can undertake organically through our portfolio. But we are actively looking to grow organically in Germany through the portfolio and inorganically through acquisitions of assets. But we won't restrict ourselves to Germany.
And what can Beacon shareholders look forward to over the next 12 months? What's happening in terms of news flow? Quite a lot, I suspect.
Yeah, but I think for us, the principal focus now will be on the well. So that spuds on the 19th. So within the next couple of months, we should be able to report the outcome of that well, the tying in of that well, and taking the production. The other element is that within the year, assuming that the 600 barrels a day is the case that we can secure, we will be drilling the second well. And the second well, our intention with that second well is to drill from it a pilot hole into the other segment that's currently untested. And that pilot hole will then test that other segment, 2.4 million barrels. We'll get information and data on that segment, and then we'll plug back and drill the second well into the adjacent to the Schwarzbach-2 well. So it'll then be at a production well from the segment that we're targeting. So within the year, hopefully we will have 2 wells, we'll have production, and we will hopefully be able to convert the contingent resources that sit in that second segment into reserves. The other part is that we are undertaking, we've got 2 undeveloped discoveries in the portfolio. On one of the undeveloped discoveries, we've submitted and applied for an operating plan, and that operating plan is in its final throes of approval. So, and what we're doing is we're trying to time the approval of that such that we can then undertake the development of that discovery from the cash flow that's coming from the Erfelden development. So it's sort of everything's lined up within the next 12 months for us to be able to rapidly, step on the shoulders of what we do from this well.
So I was going to ask you the final question, which was, well, why is now a good time to become a shareholder? But I'll be perfectly honest, you've just explained to me why now is a good time to become a shareholder. So Larry, I'm going to say that was absolutely terrific. You've been a complete star. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for deep insight into Germany at a holistic level and also at a Beacon Energy level. That was really terrific. You did it all for us there. Thank you very much. For more company information and to access the company bulletin board, please go to the Beacon Energy pages on London South East. If you're not already familiar with them, jump on. Meanwhile, do follow us on Twitter at London South East, or register on London South East YouTube to receive alerts to interviews and webinars just like these. Thanks for watching, and as always, do stay safe.